This is the story of the smallest teeth. There was a mouse living inside the walls of an old house. It was a tiny mouse with soft gray fur and the smallest teeth in the world. Every morning he'd wake up before the sun and scamper down the wall to explore the kitchen. There, among the pots and pans, he'd search for crumbs. Life was quiet. Days went by like rolling wheels until the day the cat came. She was a ginger blur of claws and teeth and anger. The mouse was small, but he was quick. He darted under cupboards, squeezed into tight holes, even balanced on curtains. But every time he thought he'd escaped, those green eyes would find him. Playing hide and seek. The cat purred, her whiskers twitching with amusement. I always win. Then she would pounce. The mouse, tired of running, decided to hide in the garden. He found a hole in the fence, squeezed through and scampered up a rosebush. There, safe among the thorns, he nibbled petals and watched the sunset. But soon the moon grew fat and cold, and in the night chill the mouse shivered. He missed his cozy home between the warm walls. As dawn crept in, he scurried back, squeezing through the hole in the fence just as the farmer opened the gate. The mouse froze, staring at the giant hand reaching for him. "What's this?" the farmer rumbled, holding the mouse between thumb and finger. "A tiny thing in my bread." He looked closer. "With the smallest teeth I've ever seen." The mouse squirmed. He knew where this was going. The farmer brought him to his wife, who stroked his chin. "So small and scared. What a perfect specimen for our collection." The mouse thumped his heart. He understood. He was too small to do anything. He was too little to matter. The farmer put him into a glass case beside other captured creatures pinned with tiny pins and stuck with labels. There was a butterfly with wings like stained glass, a beetle with shells like polished gems, and a spider who'd spun a web the size of a man's hand. All of them trapped, none of them free. The mouse huddled in a corner, watching the world outside through the glass. Days turned gray and blurry. Hope faded like a candle flame, until one day a girl came skipping into the room. Her hair was the color of wheat, and her eyes sparkled like the beetle's shells. "How beautiful," she breathed, looking at the spiderweb. "Such intricate patterns. Such a skilled maker." She moved to the mouse, who cowered in fear. She leaned closer. "And you, little one, how bravely you endure, how gently you breathe. You are a part of this world, and your life matters." Then she did something unexpected. She took a pin from the shelf and carefully closed the case. Outside, the girl skipped to a patch of sunflowers. She dug a hole under the roots and placed the case inside. Then she covered it with soil and sunflower seeds. The mouse blinked, stunned. The world smelled sweet and alive. Hope stirred within him, small but steady. Days later, the sunflower sprouted leaves, then yellow blooms that faced the sun. One day, a tiny crack appeared on the glass. The mouse watched a worm, inch by inch, push open the lid and disappear into the sunflower. Another day, a ladybug crawled in, then flew away. Soon, the mouse wasn't alone anymore. Worms wriggled, beetles crawled, ladybugs crawled, a spider scuttled, butterflies fluttered, and ants marched in long lines carrying crumbs. Each visitor filled the mouse with new wonder. He watched and waited for his own chance to be free. Finally, one breezy afternoon, the mouse pushed the lid open. He climbed out of the case and onto the sunflower. Its rough petals were cool beneath him. For the first time in a long time, he took a deep breath, savoring the freedom in the breeze on his face and the sunshine on his back. With his smallest teeth, he nibbled a petal and smiled. He might be small, but he was free. He might be too little for one person's collection, but he mattered to the worms and beetles and ladybugs. The world was vast and full of wonders, and he was too small to miss any of it. With each sunrise, the mouse helped his new friends. He guided the worms through the soil, carried crumbs to the ants, and warned the butterflies of approaching rain. One day the girl returned to water the flowers. She gasped, spotting the open case. "Are you here?" she cried, kneeling beside the sunflower. "Oh, I'm so glad you're free." The mouse scurried up her hand and nestled in her hair. "Thank you," he whispered, "for showing me that size doesn't decide what you can do. I may have the smallest teeth, but I can still make a big difference." The girl laughed. "Just like my grandpa," she said, "who built the biggest tractors with the smallest hands." The mouse looked out at the field, then back at the girl. "Can we help someone else now?" he asked. She grinned. "Of course. There's a bird trapped in that chimney, and I know just the friend to help." The girl took the mouse to the chimney and carefully placed him on the ledge. "Don't be afraid," she said. "Go help your friend." The mouse slid down the soot-covered bricks. Inside the chimney, a sparrow lay shivering, its wing twisted at an unnatural angle. The mouse climbed closer. I'm here to help, he squeaked. The sparrow stared. How can a tiny mouse help a bird with a broken wing? One small act at a time, the mouse replied. He found a bit of string and tied it into a splint, securing it with bits of cloth. Then he brought water and berries. Slowly, day by day, the sparrow regained strength. The mouse kept watch, offering words of cheer and helping with exercises. Finally, the day came when the splint was removed. The sparrow flapped its wings, soared into the air, and landed on the mouse's outstretched paw. Thank you, she chirped, her voice shaky but clear. Together we can help each other. The mouse nodded. Remember that. The sparrow spread her wings wide and dove into the blue. As the girl and the mouse watched, she circled once, then twice. Then she swooped down and landed on the chimney, right next to the mouse. I found my way out, she announced proudly. You helped me do it. The mouse beamed. Together, they'd done it. Being small didn't mean being helpless. Having the smallest teeth meant finding the tiniest tools, making the gentlest repairs, bringing the tiniest sips of water and the smallest bites of food. Small acts of kindness, that's what mattered. Together, the girl and the mouse went from garden to roof to tree, helping all creatures caught in their own struggles. The mouse learned that size doesn't decide what you can do, only how you choose to act. His bravery and kindness echoed through the town, touching every heart he met. And wherever he went, the girl followed, inspired by the littlest mouse with the greatest heart. The mouse with the smallest teeth taught everyone that, no matter how small you are, your acts of kindness can be mighty. So if you see a creature in need, don't turn away. Lend a hand, offer a word, share a crumb of food or a sip of water. For in helping others, you'll discover that even the smallest act of kindness can change a life. And that's the end of the story.